Well, now I want to turn to Gary Shergo, who is building his machine shop. Gary, welcome for this. Looking forward to seeing how you complete this one.
Thanks very much, Jim. Basically showcasing the building. What I had done was I showed you the finished building last week, and a friend of mine, when I started this project, a good friend of mine, Pat Rivard, he said to me, well, "Why don't you light this?" And he gave me some lights, these little LED lights. So I figured, okay, I'm going to try that. So this just shows a picture of the lights, and I'd install them into the roof with the wiring, all that stuck up into the roof for now. And this is the machine shop looking inside. What I had done was I had scratch built the crane from my bits and pieces box, and I had these different machine tools that I've collected over the years. I have a little bit of a collection of these. So I painted them up and, as you can see, placed them inside the building. The workbenches are, if you remember back a while when I was doing the little bits and pieces thing, I had actually made, I've lost my cursor, made molds. And this is plaster. And then what I've done is put a little benches, or not benches, but legs and that under them, and made like a work table. Here I've done a little fold up piece of paper, act as a set of plans, gentlemen cleaning the floor. Some of the propane tanks and chains, and some of the people inside. So just basically looking down. These are radiators. This building is steam heated. And you'll see, I go to the next one. They're looking in the front with the doors open. They've got a diesel unit in there they're repairing, and put a couple of things around like a barrel and a box with supplies. And you can see the workers. And this is looking in the windows. Just to give you an idea that, when you look in, there is actually things to see in there. And another shot showing the interior, crane hanging here. Next one, another shot from the back looking through the building out to the front. Different lathe here, lathe presser, milling machine over here. And again, another angle. Gentleman down having a coffee. This gentleman's cleaning the shop. This gentleman's talking to one of the workers there. And looking the other way, so you can see here the benches. Put up some shelving on the walls. I actually do have posters on these walls. I don't think I have a picture of that. This is the front, and in the summertime, these doors would be open, probably left open all the time. But in the winter, I added this door into the small door, so that they can get in and out in the wintertime without letting all that heat out. And the roof on. This little thing down here is intentional because the wood would start to rot. Hasn't been repaired yet. And the roof on, a little bit of weathering. Highlight these are slate shingles. And okay, so what I'd done, what Pat had talked me into lighting this building. So I have the lights in. And what I had done was I had taken a plastic pipe, just big enough that I can get the wires down in. And these are connector clips. So that if I have to take the roof off, I can just disconnect these little clips. And these wires go down in this pipe that I made painted gray, and it's to sort of look like a little drainage type pipe that would be in the corner. And I ran it down through the bottom of the building, and you can see the wires sticking out here, and they go to underneath the layout and then over to a switch that I just turn the switch on, the lights come on. A little closer view, you can see what I'm talking about, the pipe down here. It goes right down and through the floor. And those are a little closer. These are nice little pins. They slide in and out. So you have nice connections, and they're easy to disconnect. There's a poster on the wall here. Okay, I turned the lights out in the workshop, and I wanted to get some, the lights are on, and I wanted to get some shots just to show the effect of the lighting. There's only two LED bulbs in there, and they're quite bright, and they worked out beautifully for lighting the interior. That's looking in the front doors. Now, this is looking through the windows. So all three windows that are on the building, you can look in when the lights are out, and you can basically see, it's a nice interior scene. That's on the other side. Or I'm sorry, that's the, I believe that's on the other side. Another shot of it there. And that's on the back side. Just to give you an idea what it looks like with those two little lights. Those LEDs are very tiny, but they're quite bright, and it's just a beautiful little interior scene. Now, what had happened is I wanted a water tank close to this building. So what I'd done, I had a cardboard tube, and I did board by board all the way around it, built a deck on the top, added a ladder with a service pipe, draining pipe here, a service pipe here, so that water can get to the machine shop. And there's another shot of it. We did a little bit of making this look like it was full of water. And again, you can see the pipes that are draining and filling. Now, this is where it sits on the layout. I wanted this building, when I started building it, to be very similar to the engine house, which is over here. This is quite a large building. And this is number 2 in the series of buildings. There's going to be 3 of them. And I'm going to do the car shed, repair shed, that on the next time. And this is where I have the building. This is the stack that I put next to the building, which actually they burn the coal in here, and that provides the heat to the machine shop. And there's that little water tank which supplies water to the machine shop. And that's another view looking the other way. See, the road comes in, they can bring their engines, or they can come from here if they need an engine, take the diesel engine out, bring it over, and it can be repaired with other repairs. So you can see the 2 buildings are very similar to each other. So I have one more to build, and the other one sits, so you can just see the corner of it here. This is a plastic Volmer kit that I built when I first got into model railroading, but I want to replace it with a building that's going to look more like this, but not quite as wide. And that's a bit of a close-up showing the entrance into the machine shop. And it actually turned out quite well. It fits in well where it sits, and I was quite happy with it. And it was a fun little project. And that's the end. Any questions?
Gary, I got one for you. I've built models all my life. And probably on every one of them, I've made some kind of a stupid mistake. I just wondered, did you make any stupid mistake on building this one?
I did.
Want to share it with us?
Well, what had happened, I showed you the method how I do the walls. And I'm going to just flip back here quickly. And here we are. Okay. What I had done with this building, when I started painting these walls, I used a method that I had learned, and it's called dabbing. And what you do is you have a palette with 3 or 4 different colors. You start off with a basic color, and then you dab. You don't fill it in like with a paintbrush. And you continue to dab and with all the different colors, blending as you go along. And so this is what I had done. And if I can go back through here far enough back, sorry for the flipping. So, oh, here we are. Okay. You can see what happened here. This, using this method, this first time I ever used it. And what happened was I was dabbing, and then you can see this bright red that I have on here, which was my base color. And I had also put other colors over top of it, which were browns and oranges. And the more I did it, I actually overdid it. The more I did it. So what I did was I went over with quite a bit of orange and brown. And you can see, the different shades. Now, I know that one of the questions that was asked was, why didn't you put white mortar lines? Well, all buildings aren't white mortar lines. So what I done was I used the 100-line shale, and I started blending because I didn't like this look. It just wasn't what I was looking for. You can see different shades here. Here's reds, a little bit of oranges, the browns. So what I did was I went over with the shale. And as you can see, it looks quite gray. Well, what I did was when I painted the gray, this softened up a bit. But what I have done on this was I put a little too much of the stain on. You have to be very careful when you're using the stain. If you put a lot on your brush and you paint these bricks, it's going to come out this gray color. But I was able to get it to where I was happy with it. And what I did was I basically went over with a wet brush before this totally dried, and I was able to blend that gray in even more. So I like this method, but as you can see back here, it is really too gray.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was able to correct it. Now on the layout, and I wanted the gray also to be the mortar lines. I didn't want to use white because any of the industrial buildings I've ever seen that are older, they don't have white mortar lines. They have like gray or black or some other weird color. So that's basically what I was looking for. Sorry for flipping so fast, but
Yeah.
You can see here there is a lot of gray on this building, and when you compare it to the engine house that I had showed you back here in this one, this is more red.
Yeah.
I would have liked this to have come out more like this. So what I'm going to do on my the third one that I'm going to do is I'm going to use a different method than the dabbing. I'm going to use dabbing, but I'm going to use a different method on it.
Yep.
So we'll see how it comes out. You can see the gray here and a little bit, but not a whole bunch. This one's a little lighter in color. So basically, I just say, okay, this is older than this.
Gary, the reason I asked the question, I think it's important for modelers to understand that, you know, you're a highly skilled, talented modeler, but we all make mistakes and we all just keep modeling until we get it right or
Yeah,
until we
definitely.
like we want it. And there's no cookie cutter easy way to become a modeler. You try,
No.
try, and try again.
Yeah, like whenever I scratch build a building, something always goes wrong.
Yeah.
Like no, I don't think anyone's perfect, but what you do is you learn from those mistakes, and you take those mistakes and utilize them. Like when I was doing the boards, this is interesting, and I sort of like the effect. When I was doing the boards, some of these boards came out short.
Mm.
So what I thought was, when I did it, I thought, okay, these are going to be rotted out bottom pieces. And you can see one here and a few here. And it just adds a little bit of character. But basically, I didn't measure properly. So it was the same when I did the, sorry for flipping so fast, but when I was working on the roof, and I started doing the trusses. Okay, if we go back to where I did the jig, okay, here we are here. Now, I cut all the material because I knew how many trusses I wanted, so I knew how much material I had to cut. But when I put all these together, as you can see, they're not perfect. Some are a little, you know, a little higher, a little lower. But when you put the thing together, as I did here, it all works out because you're putting a big sheet over top of this. So you're not going to see those tiny little imperfections. Now, I know there's modelers out there that are, you know, we call them rivet counters, but hey, I've scratch built a lot of buildings over the years, and I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've learned a lot also.
That's what modeling's all about, Gary. Thanks so much for helping.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much, Jim. Thanks a lot.
And next week, Gary starts something, a brand new project, building Walter's Company Store. This is a plastic kit, and I guarantee you, by the time that Gary gets through building it, you will swear that it is a wood craftsman kit. It's just something to see the creativity that he uses to take this plastic kit and turn it into a craftsman kit. Gary, we're looking forward to that.